Hey everyone, Darren here. We're tasting some very limited release wines in the December release of the LCBO. And so these might be a little bit hard to find. You might have to ask your product consultant or store manager to check out these wines for you. But first up, we've got a Sancerre, wine from France from the Loire Valley. This is the Gerard Fioux 2019 Sancerre, Le Grand Roi. And we're gonna have a try of this one. This is a classics release, so you can find this online. You can also ask your store manager to pull these wines if you're so interested, or your product consultant. We're gonna have a taste of this one. So this is 100% Sauvignon Blanc from the Loire Valley. Kind of a cool climate. This wine spent 10 months on the lees, so we might see a little bit of that benefiting on the palate here. On the nose, it's very citrusy and minerally. We're kind of getting this ripe lemon juice, a bit of lemon zest in here. A little bit grassy, as you might find for Sauvignon Blanc, but it has a sufficient amount of fruitiness that's very, very inviting. And that 10 months on the lees does not give it an overly bready characteristic. Not really picking up too much on that. I think that's gonna be on the mouthfeel. It's a dry wine. Sauvignon Blanc's got high level of acidity. Its acidity kind of highlights some of its citrus, but also brings out a little bit of a tropical note, almost like a bit of a slight amount of passion fruit on here. And that lees contact does give it a little bit more of a round mouthfeel. It's a little bit chewier. It's not quite to a light-bodied wine. It's more getting towards medium-bodied for this Sauvignon Blanc, but very good with classic pairings with poultry, with seafood, with fish, white fish especially, with a cream sauce. This would be a really good pair. So that's our Gerard Fioux Sancerre. Again, classics release. But you can also get someone in your local LCBO to maybe have a look and see if they can order that for you. Next two wines are flagship exclusive wines. So if you're in some of the flagship stores that you can find in the Greater Toronto area and other parts of Ontario, you'll find that distributed there. This one is the Rutini Malbec Cabernet Sauvignon blend from Argentina. Most of the fruit is from Mendoza here, and it's a blend of 50% Cabernet Sauvignon, 50% Malbec, 50% of it was aged in French oak, and 50% of it was aged in American oak. So lots of variation here. On the nose, it's got this very inviting, the Cabernet Sauvignon is contributing lots of black fruit, black plum, blackberry, even a cassis kind of characteristic. And then the Malbec is giving also some black fruit, also kind of this like blueberry, blackberry aroma, but there's a little bit of earthiness as well, kind of like a freshly turned black earth. You got quite a bit of deep color in this wine as well. You have some of this like a little bit dried floral, dried violets, and the oak is very well integrated, just a touch of sweet spice, a little bit of vanilla and toast. On the palate, it's a dry wine, medium plus level of acidity, medium plus tannin. The tannins are actually quite surprisingly inviting and soft. It doesn't really coat your mouth too much. They kind of melt away. They'd be really good if you had some grilled meats and or some cheese that could really kind of like cling to the tannin and smooth it out even more. But you could handle this wine on its own if you're a real red wine drinker. You can kind of handle that tannin here. Black fruit, spice, quite a long finish, showing its fruit characteristic in this one. So that's the Rutini Cabernet Malbec, again, flagship store exclusive. And then our third wine is also a flagship store exclusive. This is the Sidewood Estates Tire Fitter Syrah. Now, a lot of Australian wines are labeled as Shiraz, kind of maybe indicating lots of sunlight and ripe fruit, maybe even some of that jammy characteristic. The clone of grape in this wine is specialized, a single clone, likes a slightly cooler climate, and Sidewood Estates has very carefully selected one that's going to allow this grape to show its Syrah-like characteristics. And in that, you're getting something that's a little bit more peppery in a Syrah. So if you're looking for that expression in this grape, check out a wine that's labeled as Syrah. This is a great example. You're kind of seeing that kind of like cracked black pepper. You're kind of getting something that's much more savory than it is jammy or juicy. Something that might remind you of bacon fat, a little bit like dried meat. In addition to all that blackberry, boysenberry, you're layering on some peppery, pungent spice and some meat. So that's kind of a very northern Rhone expression of this grape variety, which is being embraced here by Cidewood. On the palate, and a little bit, it's dry wine. It's medium plus level of acidity. Its tannins are quite fine, kind of indicating that the climate again is a little bit cooler for this one. And you're getting a medium body and medium plus tannin, showing some longevity, ageability in this Syrah. It's from the 2021 vintage, so it's got quite a life ahead of it if you're going to age it in the bottle. And the palate really follows through on the nose. You're getting much juicier, a little bit more surprisingly acidic blueberry and blackberry fruit on here, and that pepperiness and some of that leathery characteristic shines through as well. Has a quite long finish, even some kind of like a smoky aroma and flavor palette on the finish here. So flagship exclusive, Cidewood Estates Tire Fitter Syrah, very limited release for these three wines, so hopefully you'll have a chance to check them out, have a taste. If you don't see them in your stores, please check out the numbers, the LCBO numbers, and your local LCBO's product consultant or customer service rep can help you find where these wines are, because they're not in every single store. Hope you have a chance to check them out. Until the next video, cheers.